In today's video, we're going to talk about narcissistic mothers. Now, have you ever noticed when you are around your mother that you are always the one to blame, or that you're always the one to be wrong about something, whereas she doesn't take any responsibility? Narcissistic mothers, unfortunately, are masters at making you feel broken. And the reason they do this is so they don't face their own flaws. In today's video, I want to unpack why they do this and how this impacts you. Narcissistic mothers love making their children feel wrong so they don't feel wrong. They're master manipulators, and they're very good at projecting their own flaws onto their children so they don't have to deal with them. Narcissistic mothers are masters at making their children feel broken. Why do narcissistic mothers project their shame or their undesired traits onto their children? Narcissistic mothers do this because they carry deep insecurity and shame themselves. Instead of owning it, accepting it, talking about it, they project this onto their children. So one example of this is if the mother is feeling inadequate for whatever reason, she may call her child crazy, lazy, ungrateful, or selfish. Another thing that a narcissistic mother does to avoid responsibility is that she has the need to control her children, and she can do this in many different ways. One of these ways is by creating doubt in her children. If the narcissistic mother can convince her child that he or she is the problem, she remains in control and she doesn't have to deal with any unpleasant emotions. A narcissistic mother is very, very good at making her children constantly second guess themselves. And she does this by gaslighting them, by creating confusion, by destabilizing her children through lies, through changing the narrative. And the child over time, unfortunately, does end up struggling a lot with believing that they are worthy, believing that they have a right to their emotions, because their mother constantly makes them feel like they don't. When you have a narcissistic mother, you end up second guessing yourself a lot of the time, and you will find yourself apologizing all the time for things that aren't even your fault. Narcissistic mothers do not want to take responsibility. They do not want to be accountable for mistakes that they make, for things that they do that hurt their children. They will always put it on the child. It's always the child because the child was too loud or the child was too angry. If the child doesn't listen, it's the child's fault that the mum got mad. It is never her saying, "I'm really sorry, I was angry, I didn't mean to be so angry at you." You won't ever hear a narcissistic mother apologize for any of her bad behavior. And the child will always internalize everything. The child will have feelings of worthlessness and low self-esteem because of the way that the mother always finds fault in the child's behavior. The narcissistic mother barely ever praises the child for the good things that it does. It may praise the child when the child does something for the mother, so her love is always conditional, but it won't be healthy love. She won't be praising and saying well done to her child for achieving things that are good for the child. Everything that she's happy about, she'll be happy about because it reflects well on her. It makes her look good. Children are individuals. Children are not supposed to be morphed into what a parent wants them to be. They are not puppets. They grow up to be individuals, to have their own likes and dislikes, their own personality, their own character. Some need more sensitivity, more nurturing. Some children are more difficult, but a mother's job is to unconditionally love that child and to ask for support from others in order to do that, in order to be a good parent. Now, I'm not saying that every single mother out there gets it right. Of course not. Mothers are human too, and they make mistakes. But a good mother will be accountable for that mistake. She'll apologize to her child. She will teach her child right from wrong. She will teach her child that she's also human and that sometimes she gets angry, but it doesn't mean that she doesn't love her children. She will communicate in a healthy way with her children so her children understand that no matter what happens, mum will always love them. Mum will always be there for them. A narcissistic mother can't do that. She is so focused on her own needs, and in many ways she is very self-focused because she also has a lot of emptiness. She also has a lot of unmet needs from her childhood. So a narcissistic mother isn't able to be there truly for her children. She isn't very good at being selfless, at being empathetic. Now, why does it hurt so deeply when a narcissistic mother is always blaming her children, is always pointing the finger at them, making them feel guilty, telling them that they remember things wrong? Well, a child needs a mother's unconditional love and nurturing. A child needs to feel accepted by its mother. A mother is supposed to nurture her child and validate her child's emotions and comfort her child, especially in moments where that child is struggling with their feelings. A narcissistic mother, unfortunately, is constantly undermining her children's reality. And when she does that, she creates lasting wounds into adulthood. These children don't just recover from this. These children suffer. These children have a lot of difficulties in their adult lives. They may find partners that very much resemble their mother. They may have partners that are overly critical or dismissive or who lack empathy. They may struggle to have any relationships at all. If you are lucky enough to have a father that's healthy, to have a father that's empathetic and nurturing, then you're very lucky compared to many who don't even have that. A lot of adult children have two parents that weren't there for them. A lot of adult children have an enabler mum or dad, where one of them is the narcissist, but the other one isn't really protecting them. Or they may have two narcissistic parents or two parents that are emotionally immature. And it's very, very difficult because that child essentially has to parent themselves and parent their parents. And that is a huge burden for a child to have to bear. Now, it's important that you feel empowered as an adult child of a narcissistic mother. And it's important to remind yourself that your mother's inability to admit her mistakes doesn't define your worth. That's on her. It doesn't mean that you're not worthy. And the other thing that's important to remember is that you were never wrong. There was nothing ever wrong with you. That was just your mother projecting the unwanted parts of herself onto you. She didn't want to face her own demons, her own problems, her own mistakes. So they all ended up being projected onto you. And yes, as an adult, you still carry these things. You internalize these things because you had years and years and years of receiving the same message again and again. It's hard to change that pattern of behavior, but it is possible. And in order to heal, you have to reclaim your own truth, your own identity. You have to learn to set boundaries, and you have to learn to start trusting your feelings. Because you may not have been able to trust your feelings in the past because you had a parent that was constantly dismissing them or constantly telling you that your feelings were wrong. But you can do that as an adult. You have a say in this. You don't have to live by your parents' rules anymore. You can carve out a life for yourself and learn to live life in a way that makes you happy, in a way that helps you feel empowered and authentic. And lastly, remember that your mother's need to always be right doesn't mean that you are wrong. If she needs to be right, just let her. You don't even have to fight it because actually, what is the point? Your mother probably doesn't get it. You can still trust in your own voice. You can still trust in your own feelings, in your own gut instincts, and do the thing that's right for you. Now, if this video resonated with you, please know that you're not alone. There are many other survivors of narcissistic parenting out there. If you've experienced this and you'd like to share what you have learned from this experience, then please do so in the comments below this video. Thank you so much for listening and for watching. I also would like to introduce a new online support group that I will be starting on the 1st of October. It is for adult children of narcissistic mothers. This will be an online support group where you can join and you can talk about your struggles in a safe space. I will be there to support you with that. If you would like to join this online support group, then please comment below with your email address so I can get in touch with you. and invite you to this online support group. It will be every 2 weeks. I will be releasing the dates and more information on this soon. So please keep an eye on the posts that I make, because that is where the information will be. Thank you so much for watching and for listening today, everybody. And I will see you very soon. Take care. Bye-bye.